want to welcome everyone today to our annual State of the District address. We like to take the opportunity every year to kind of just meet together and share a little bit of what's going on. The very first year we did this, I said that we are very okay with opening up our front curtains in our living room and letting you see how we're doing at our own house. And this is our opportunity to share with you some successes and to share with you the things that we're doing to try to improve education in the Show Low area. And I'd like to thank you for taking some time out of your day today. Recognize just a few individuals. Our board today, our board, Mr. John Larson is our president. He's had to be at work today. Stacy Anderson, our vice president. Where did she go? There she is. Ms. Amy Tregaskis is our board clerk. Mr. Darrell Perkins, a board member. And Mr. Brant Clark, over here on this side, another member. And then our board and superintendent secretary, Ms. Kelly Boyer. I'm really excited about this group of individuals. I get to work very intimately with them, and I want to tell you just a little bit about them and their vision for education in Show Low. I'm continually impressed as we meet. We discuss issues. We discuss moving forward. They are right on point. They love the kids in this area, and they want them to be successful. I'm glad to be a part of that group. To make that happen, and really appreciate their willingness to serve as board members. As many of you know that are in public service, sometimes it's a thankless job. They get paid a lot of money to do it, but it is thankless nonetheless. All right, I just want to recognize just a few people from our administrative staff. Susie Jaramillo is retiring at the end of this year. She's our Whipple Ranch principal. Charlotte Cosgray is our Linden Elementary principal. Kevin Hall, Nicholas Homestead. Becky Clark is our junior high principal. Ben Marchand, our high school principal. Beth Marsh, Director of Special Services. Hal Clark, our Director of Technology. Greg Schubert, our business manager. Jeff Houston, the Director of Food Services. Jamie Ramsey, Director of Curriculum and Federal Programs. And Sean West, the Director of Maintenance and Transportation. Also like to recognize my staff in the office with us in the district office, Thierry Holliday, Lori Douglas, Evie Warnicki, Vanessa Beecroft, and Tanya Steinhoff. Also, our assistant principals, some are with us, some are holding down the fort while we're all here. Darcy Healy at the junior high. David Nicholas is our athletic director. Christina Jackson, director of CTE and high school programming. And Ashley Robinson, our assistant principal over discipline at the high school. So let's give all these individuals a round of applause. So I want to ask you just a moment to take just a moment and reflect on this picture. I don't know about you, but I'm pretty impressed by the aspen tree. If you've taken any time to learn about the aspen tree, you'll notice that you'll find out that it has a few characteristics. First off, it's usually the first tree to grow back after a forest fire. And it's often referred to as the nursery tree. It helps the other things underneath it to grow back and sustain the forest life. I want to point out three characteristics that I think are applicable to us. First, fire stimulates its growth. In Show Low School District, I really feel like that we want to push ourselves and put ourselves through the quote-unquote fires, right? We've been through the fire, and that stimulated some growth. 3 years ago, we had a vision for where we wanted to go. We were coming out of the fire, if you could say that, and we feel like that stimulated our growth and our motivation to improve. Aspen trees are self-perpetuating. They continue to grow from their own roots. As the roots continue to go out, they'll send up shoots, and a grove of trees is one living organism. There are some that say, scientific studies that say that aspen groves can be considered the largest living organism that is out there, because that whole tree, that whole stand of trees could be one single organism, self-perpetuating. Also, this last one resonates with me a little bit. It is a single organism. And as Show Low Unified School District, we strive to be that singular organism, the one that partners with all the other branches that are important to our success. And that's why we've invited our partners to be with us today in our State of the District. Ultimately, it is our hope that we will be able to strive in achieving excellence together. The saying that it takes a village to raise a child is more important today than it has ever been. Economic development from the different societal changes, how we educate kids today is much different than how you were educated as a child. Some of the principles are still the same, but the dynamics are a lot different. It takes all of us together to make that happen. So hopefully what you'll see today is as our partnerships have grown and have blossomed, we have indeed began to achieve excellence together, and we're in a good path. I want to bring Ms. Jamie Ramsey up. She's our Director of Curriculum and Instruction and over our federal programs. She's going to give us a real brief overview of student achievement and where we were 4 years ago and where we are now, and kind of reflect back on some of the changes that we put in place to start to move in the right direction. So Jamie, go ahead and come on up.
All right. We're good? Okay. So 9 years ago this week, my husband and I, we had our wedding reception in this room. And I see some similarities between that night and today. We had good food, good music, and good people talking about our past and celebrating what we know is going to be a bright future. Last year, Becky Clark talked about the teacher cadre that was set up in the district. It's a group of teachers who work together from throughout the district, and they came up with the PRIDE program, the Professional Refinement Institute for the Development of Excellence. And this program includes the PRIDE Handbook, which gives a list of courses that teachers can take for professional development, and it gives a list of books that are in our lending library, which we purchase books for professional development as well. Sorry, you went ahead a little bit too soon. It also included the new teacher induction and mentoring program for the teachers who are new to our district. And while we have utilized the PRIDE program, we have a training room at Whipple Ranch, and teachers can come and take courses and receive credit hours for professional development. And in having these courses at Whipple Ranch, it has saved us money for travel, lodging, and registration fees if we were to send these teachers out somewhere else. So we have it in-house, and so far we have had 158 staff members participate this year and clocking in over 800 hours and saving the district approximately $35,000. The teacher leadership cadre also recommended that we partner with Beyond Textbooks, and this has given us an alignment to the state standards, and it provides horizontal alignment across the district. So if you have a student in 4th grade, they're receiving the same information that the students next door in 4th grade are receiving. The rigor is increasing, and we still have room to grow, and we have common assessments. So every week, students take a math and an English language arts assessment to be able to track their progress and their knowledge of the standards. And we are seeing progress throughout the district. This is the Q2 benchmark percent passing. So these are the students who passed with a 70% or better on their Q2 benchmark. The yellow is 2017, and the green is 2018. So if you look across from second grade all the way to 11th, we are seeing progress in English language arts, and we are also seeing progress in math. We did have a goal of raising 10% of our ELA and math scores, and we did meet that goal this year. Also in achievement, we have the Arizona Language Arts tests for the last 4 years, and we have the elementary throughout the district, so Linden and Nicholas Homestead, junior high and high school. 2015 to 2018, we're seeing progress, as well as in math. All right. This has helped with our school labels. The state gives school labels or grades for each school, and this includes growth, proficiency. For the high school, it also includes career and college readiness and graduation rates. And Linden, in 2017, received a D at 51% or 56%, and in 2018, raised that up over 70% to a C, missing a B by less than 0.5%, or less than 8%, sorry. Nicholas Homestead, they were a B in 2017 and a B in 2018, but their percentages also were higher in 2018. And both the Sholo Junior High and the high school received C's in 2017 and grew to B's in 2018. So we're seeing progress throughout the district, and I know that, working together, we can have a really good and bright future and see even more progress.
Thank you, Jamie. Part of the, at this point, I want to just remind you, part of the questions inside the survey are surrounded around two things, a couple of different components. One is about our direction. You'll see we'll roll out at the end of this presentation some things that we're doing to give us direction through 2024. There's also some questions that are directly related to these two presenters. And I wanted to point these out to you. Please share these with your family, friends, neighbors. These are public events that we are putting forward as the school district. The first one is the Surviving an Active Lethal Threat. This is a national presenter. We've seen him present on different occasions. February 21st, we are offering that to the community, parents, and everyone alike. This is a free event. They just need to go online to eventbrite.com and register for that event. The only reason why we would have them register is so we know we have enough seats. The auditorium holds 750 and we don't want to get 900. People tried to stuff in there. The fire marshal might have a problem. So we want to make sure we have this. The other one, the school board began along with the administrative team and several others throughout the district, began a book study on a book called The Unselfie. And it talks about empathy in kids and in communities and growing a culture of empathy and kindness. And so we began to do that. This speaker is the author of that book, and she will be in town right at the start of school to talk to our teachers. She will also be there that evening for a parent and community event to share her thoughts on her book, The Unselfie. So we're excited to have those two events. Please, if you didn't get a chance to fill out the survey, that data inside there is critical to help us set courses as we're moving forward. I want to talk just real briefly about budget and finance. Many people around the state, you've heard, they had questions. Governor Ducey proposed a 20 by 20 teacher salary raise specifically for teachers last year. That first part was passed, and then there were questions, where was the rest of it going to come? And that's still the question, is it going to come? The likelihood is yes, it will. So how did some school districts do that? I tell you, around the state, some school districts chose to use that 10% in a lot of different ways, to take care of maintenance and operation, to take care of teacher salaries, to pay classified staff. they did a whole litany of things to help to utilize that money because we're in a financial deprivation. So they used it however they wanted. You'll hear comments around the state that our teachers only got 5% raise, or they got 6%. They were expecting 10. I will tell you in Show Low School District, per Arizona statute 15903, we had to post this on our website. So this is actually found on our website. Average base salary in 2018 was $35,634. These are just our teachers. Proposition 301 money, as you remember, that proposition was passed in early 2000 and extended last legislative session. That was $8,720.17. One portion of that, 87, is based on performance. And so about 97% of our teachers receive that whole amount. Some might not receive it based on choice or performance. Average compensation for 2018 was $44,354. That was average in the district with our ranges. After the salary increase, our base salary for 2019 was $41,430. Proposition 301 increased because sales revenue around the state was great fourth quarter last year. And we really gained some momentum coming into this year. And so that was $9,821.70. Just over $1,000 increase in that portion. Average teacher compensation in our district now is $51,251.70. Our average percent increase was 16%. Our governing board last year decided that they wanted to, we have teachers that have long tenures in our district, and they wanted to do something to help alleviate some of the burden that they had in the 10 years of salary freezes. So we did have, all teachers received at least a 10%, some were as high as 26%, depending on their tenure in the district. And so our average compensation was pretty healthy. It is the intent of the school district to continue to provide that specific money that comes in for teacher salaries to teacher salaries. That would mean 5% this year and 5% in the following year. It's important to understand when you think about this, though, Governor Ducey based his 20% off of the base salary that was established last year. Okay, so if I made $30,000 this year and then I was increased by 10% and now I'm $33,000, my 5% next year is based on my $30,000, not my $33,000. That's how he projected it out. So based on that, we feel like it's positive that he's going to have that money in there. He may decide that he changes his tone a little bit and says it's going to just be 5% on, but indications are that that's not the case. He's going to base it off that first piece. Keep in mind that that is just for teachers. So around the state, the part of the Red for Ed movement was, hey, we need teacher salary increases, but what about our classified staff? They do a lot of work in our classrooms too, and do a lot of work around our campuses to make things successful. We spent some time last year with the governing board, restructured many of our salary schedules to put more money in the pockets of our staff on payday, not later on, not at different times during the year, but in their pockets on payday. And that's paid off pretty significantly. All classified staff received at least $1 an hour raise last year, which was, talking to people in education, $1 an hour never happens. That we just can't do that. We were able to do that last year with the revenues coming in. Continued to see salary compression due to minimum wage increases. And I know all of you may be experiencing the same thing, but as the minimum wage continues, we're revenue neutral. And so that compression of salary schedules is going to continue to happen unless we're able financially to do something to avoid that. I put these slides in here. Jamie is our federal programs person, but I wanted to point something out. We have our M&O budget, we have our capital budget, we have some other little pieces of the pie that are there. One thing that helps us, we are a Title I school district, which means our socioeconomics is high enough that we receive federal dollars to help support instruction because of the SES of our population. Title I, part of the Every Student Success Act, federal dollars, we received about $827,000. That, just a snapshot of how we use that. We have 11 and a half reading specialists and teachers to help reduce class sizes. So when they're talking on the federal level about reducing title money or federal money, know that it impacts us significantly. Summer school, we had 1 lead teacher and 26 other teachers. Beyond textbooks, Edgenuity, that's our curriculum that we use for interventions and also for our alternative ed programs. Supplies, parent involvement, and we've purchased 10 Chromebook carts with that money. Title II, again, each of these pots can be used differently. Title II is about $96,000 we use to pay for substitutes for PD and training, new teacher induction, leadership training, 13 professional learning communities. We have our PLCs that helps with those, and also other things as far as training is concerned. Title III is a little bit different, supports Arizona English language learners. It has 4 teachers and 1 admin to attend the Ozella conference, which is 4 ELLs, and 15 Chromebooks supplied for ELL students. Just going back to that, the state provides ELL instruction if you have a cohort of ELL students within a three grade range. And if you don't, if you're one shy of that, they say good luck, educate them on your own. This is what the statute says. And so we're fortunate to be able to have 1.5 teachers funded through the state for ELL beginning next year. $57,000 helps us to do other things under Title IV to provide access to well-rounded education and improve the use of technology. We have the Jesus piece, that's where we're funding Jesus Via Hermosa coming. High school is doing what we call the Link Crew, and that provides training for the instructor and the students that will start next year. Social emotional interventions for K-5 and STEM programming at the high school in Linden. Also, we have rural and low-income schools. We qualify for some of that money, $77,000, and that helps provide mostly stipends and things as far as tech is concerned. In our bond expenditures, I know this is an important piece for us. Our bond oversight committee, you might say, well, why are we overexpended in facilities? Couple of things happen. You get into facilities and you open them up and you find out, like we just found out today in our breezeway at the high school, to secure the 2 buildings, between the buildings from our wood shop area and our regular high school area, they dug out the concrete and they went to dig the footers, and they came back the next morning, those footers were full of water. Then they emptied the water and then it was full of water again. Well, that was an unexpected thing, right? So you've been in construction, you know that those things come up. Also, it was a strong recommendation of the Bond Oversight Committee that we made sure that we had conditioned air in the 3 sites that didn't have conditioned air. So between junior high, Nicholas, and Linden, that was a $3 million expenditure, but that pushed us just a little bit outside. We were able to save money in other areas. Currently, we have expended or procured all $10 million of the bond. And so we're moving forward. Those projects are, you'll see them ramp up as it starts to get warmer, but we do have things going on right now, in particular at the high school, junior high, and at Linden. So what's happened? So we have secure entries completed at Whipple Ranch, the high school, and Nicholas. Energy efficiency projects are about 75% complete. The whole district, every light bulb was changed to LED. And every water, whether it was urinal, sink, it was all turned into water efficiency devices. The guaranteed savings by that project alone was $100,000 a year to the district. And so that company, that's their guaranteed savings. We also had TVs and Chromebooks in each of the classes, and we're in the process of completing wraparound training and making sure that all of the bugs are worked out and helping teachers to utilize in their classroom. I want to share just a little anecdote on this. Over Christmas, our tech department, along with our maintenance department, had a big challenge. They went into the junior high. They didn't. The contractors went into junior high, and put in drop ceilings, put in all the hardware and everything for the air conditioning units. It was a mess. Coming up on school starting, we were presented with a problem. To put the drop ceilings in, all the overhead projectors had to come out. All the smart boards had to come out. So we had a quandary. Do we put them in, put them back in, or do we put the TVs back in? Or put the TVs in and push out new technologies to the teacher? Here's the deal. It was taking the tech department and maintenance department, they could do 5 TVs per day. They had one day to do all the TVs in that building. They did how many TVs? 24 TVs, and they installed them in one day. When the teachers came in on Monday from Christmas, they were all installed and ready to use. And then they did individual training with the teachers the following 2 days. So by Wednesday of coming back, they were fully immersed in the technology. We walked into a teacher's classroom. She's been teaching for 5 years in other districts and also here. We asked her about the changes. Mr. Clark was with me on his little journey around. We went to different sites to see. And we walked in, she got emotional about the technology in her classroom and about the drop ceilings and about the potential of air conditioning. She says, these have been the best 3 days of my whole teaching career. Thank you so much. So if that's not enough to tell you we did the right thing by approving the bond and getting things moving in the right direction, those kind of stories make it worth it for me. We have upcoming projects. The junior high in Linden, those are pretty significant projects. They are starting at a very slow pace, but they will ramp up as we get closer to spring break and the end of the year. Air conditioning at Linden, junior high, and Nicholas, and then the breezeway connection at the high school building has begun. As I told you, they pulled the concrete out and found water. Parking and traffic flow at the junior high, Linden, and Nicholas, you'll see that once the ground warms up and dries out. Once all current bond projects are complete, we will begin exploring additional progress or updates to the auditorium. We've already done a few. We've replaced the sound system, lighting, and water in that facility, and so we'll look to continue to see what we can do there. School facility board, my number one objective when we got the bond is to expand it to 15 million. I'm not going to go to the taxpayers to ask for another 5 million, but we are going to go to the school facilities board. They, by statute, have to remediate buildings that do not meet minimum standards. So our weatherization, if we were to paint and put windows in all the buildings that needed them, it would have taken up $1.5 million of our bond project money. We didn't have to do that. The SFB is going to do that. You'll see the roof at Whipple Ranch. You'll see the windows and it painted. The high school, you'll see those. That's the progression that they'll start taking through the district. They'll wrap those things up and they'll look really nice. Roofing at the junior high will also be included. High school gymnasium, you might say, well, we didn't even have in our mind high school gymnasium. The year before I got here, we put $80,000 into floor renovations. It was buckling. The next year, it buckled again. Remember that water that came up in the footing? Our concrete was leaching 99% moisture into the floor. Add on top of that swamp coolers, and we had a big, big mess. So we went to the SFB. At first, they were like, well, we can't give you air conditioning. You're above 6,000 feet. We continue to be persistent. They have now approved that project. It'll be very inconvenient, to say the least, but it should be funded in July and begin. It'll take 4 months. That project will be somewhere around $1.2 million. It'll be floor replacement, air conditioning, possibility, an outside chance it might be bleachers and some other things in there. That's all on their dime, not on ours. So we're really excited about that. Strategic planning, I wanted to share with you this. I know it's a little small on this screen, but the governing board, I told you how much I enjoyed working with them. They have vision. They have a desire to improve. They are embarking on what we call, we want to achieve excellence together by 2024. The board is launching their strategic planning committees. Here's our 5 areas that we will focus on: vision and mission. John Larson will lead out on that. We'll have an administrative coordinator on that piece. Pre-K 5 instruction and programming, Stacy Anderson will serve on that committee. 6th and to post-secondary instruction and programming, Amy Trugaskis. Budget and Finance, Brant Clark will sit on that one, and Transportation and Facilities, Daryl Perkins will participate in this one. We are excited that will take place. Hopefully we will have a strong strategic plan in place for approval by July or August to launch us into our 2024 campaign here. So that's exciting. We are, if you know anyone that would like to serve, the committees are established, but we do have some seats available for community members and others to sit on those committees if something is of interest of you or for you to participate in. Please notify the district office and we'll get you on there. This is my big soapbox this year. Legislative action. We as a school district and governing board can only do so much when we're advocating for schools in the legislature. There are 4 bills in particular. There's a lot more that affect schools, but 4 I want to point out to you. Senate Bill 1395, expansion of empowerment scholarships. Not only the expansion, remember the voters last year turned it down. And they're bringing it back and expanding it to preschool kids and other areas that weren't even included up front. That would mean significant impacts to our bottom line. SB 1320, not only would it take that empowerment scholarship and expand it, now it gets the legislative oversight to the State Treasurer's Department, not the Department of Education. So the oversight of that would be put in the Treasurer's office instead of Department of Ed. Compulsory attendance, it's 16 currently. There's a bill, however you feel about that, 1128, to move compulsory attendance from 16 to 18, which means if you're 18 years old, you would be required to be in school unless you've graduated. Comprehension vision screening. I have a huge problem, and I want to share this with you. The comprehensive vision screening would indicate that we would have to vision screen all kinder and first graders. And then if they failed the state test in reading, we would have to do a comprehensive vision screening for those children also. What does that mean to school districts? The machine to provide that is $8,000. We'd have to train all of our health techs. This isn't an education problem. That's a Department of Health problem. But yet it's being pushed back on us. When we talk about financing and funding for schools, these kind of programs are things that continue to tax our budget, and it's going to be a mandate, if this is passed, that we have no control over. There will not be additional funding to take that on. Also out there, if you look, there is mandatory, one of the bills requires mandatory suicide training for teachers who would be a part of their certification requirement, and if they failed to do it, they would lose their ability to teach. So training them, and then where's the accountability if that passes? Does that mean we're mandatory reporting suicide off a possibility? And then what's the accountability for teachers if we fail to report possibles? Request to speak system. Some of you might feel like up here on the mountain that the valley is too far for you to reach. Here's the deal. They have a request to speak system. You must be present to sign up. You have to go to the kiosk at the Capitol building. If you don't feel like you could go to the Capitol building, send your information to me, and I'll go to the Capitol building and I'll register everyone at the kiosk. Or, probably the preferable route would be to go to this website on the Arizona School Board Association website, give them your information, and they will go to the kiosk and register you. By doing that, when a bill comes up that you agree or disagree with, you can weigh in from your seat at home. You can say, I'm opposed to it, I agree with it. Whatever it is, you can advocate for that bill from here without being at the state legislature. I also know I have board members that would love to advocate legislatively, and please share your messages with them so that they can continue to fight for education. I want to thank you for your attendance today. We are really excited. We have a lot of things to be excited about in Show Low Education. We're proud to be a partner with the city. We are one of 2 school districts in the northeastern part of Arizona that had increased enrollment this last year. One of 2. And we're proud to say that we are the only one in this area that had that happen. So we're primed for growth. We're looking forward for the future. Please join us in continuing to achieve excellence together. So thank you for your attendance.
you.